We are being seriously timed. Good afternoon. Is this working? Yeah? Okay. So I'm Denis Dorval, the Vice President for Development Asia Pac at Alfresco. Any chance that some of you guys attended the morning session I presented about Alfresco? If you could raise your hand, just so that I know. Okay. Good. So Alfresco, we are open source content management software. And we have really done extremely well over the last 6-7 years. We have disrupted the market. And for the ones that attended the session earlier today, we have leveraged the open source model to really innovate faster on a market that was a bit kind of sleeping and controlled by proprietary traditional software vendors that started to stop innovating. The presentation this afternoon is about not too much Alfresco as a content management software company, but more how we're leveraging the open source model, how it works, how we're making that work at Alfresco. And hopefully that will be interesting information for you guys, but at the end of the presentation, I'm more than happy to take some questions. So, I've been now at Alfresco nearly 7 years. It goes back to the time Alfresco started. Alfresco was started in 2005. As I mentioned earlier today, during the plenary session, I come myself from the dark side, traditional software. I was at finance. I joined Alfresco because I believed in the value of open source as a business model to deliver faster innovation and better value for the I then started to learn and discover a lot of things about open source. Right? And basically, it's interesting to see also how the market and a lot of people don't really know how it works. I found that. And I thought that it would be interesting to share with you that again, how we're applying the model and how it works from our end. So first, open source is probably not the recipe to do everything or anything, right? But it really brings a lot of value in certain areas. It helps commoditize markets that are really of mass nature and that are a bit too much controlled by, let's say, existing vendors. So that's really a very, very powerful, impact that open source can have, especially on the infrastructure side, as we mentioned earlier today. The infrastructure IT battle has been won by open source by and large. And it also helps innovate faster. But open source usually is successful when you meet a certain demand. There's really two criteria. You need to meet a demand. Demand that can be fueled by frustration, right? For example, that was the case of Alfresco. Content management software was existing since 20 years, but people were frustrated. It was incumbent, it was complex, and it was very expensive. So there was an opportunity to deliver something better, faster, better value for money. There was a demand on the market side. Now, when you identify that demand, you can leverage open source to go really fast, quick, in building the solution, but also going to market and make that discovery. But you need to, yes, then not only meet a big demand, that we happen to be meeting ourselves in the Alfresco, you need also to deliver very good software. Because that is the virtue of being open. People are looking to what and how you're developing that software. Right? That is really a core value of the open model. People can check it out, see how it's been built, and then through this demand that is out there in the market plus the quality of what you deliver, then you can create very fast, a very big community. Right? But there's about, I think, 40,000, 50,000, maybe 100,000 open source projects out there. Most of them will fail because there's not enough demand. If you develop even with the best developers in the world, a software in an open source fashion that only meets one requirement, you know what? You're not going to build a big community. Right? So again, it's relevant to ask yourself, okay, why and how people are building that great community. Right? It's because again there is frustration. Right? Or there is a demand, and then there is quality in what you do. that helps you build that community very big, very fast. We managed to do that, you know, quite well. We also realized it's really the survival of the fittest, especially when you're addressing a need that is a bit generic. There tends to be a bit the winner takes it all concept. You know, you can wonder why, you know, because it's been kind of the case on the, you know, I mean, OS bit layer, you know, even though my friends from SUSE or, you know, other, you know, Ubuntu, etc. might disagree, but let's face it, Red Hat is kind of, you know, really the factor of gorilla. There will always be others, right? But there's really you know, a reward for sort of prime, right? You know, company or project, right? At a worldwide level. You have to ask yourself why. It's probably because it's hard to build two big communities worldwide on the same topic. It's because, you know, there's competition, but there is definitely one that is going to go bigger, much bigger than the others. See, MySQL was the case. In content management, it's us, Alfresco. Well, we dare anyway, you know, thinking that we've done really great in building a big community, right, around Alfresco, especially core Alfresco. I mean, content management, there's a lot of different pieces, you know. We're not talking about here of CMS, content management systems in the sense of web content management systems or portals. We're not into this, Alfresco. We are a core repository document management platform with some lot of capabilities. On that front, I think we have established ourselves as a clear kind of a leader. Now, how does it work? You have here the core. The core, it refers to the core people that are building the product. And basically, you have three kind of satellites, you know, turning around here. Is, you know, people, I mean, the feed is really developers or people that are feeding stuff into the core product. Right? They contribute. Consume, there's a lot of these, right? People that consume open source technology. They're not particularly contributing, right? They're not in a position to do so, but they consume technology. Watch is more, you know, the bloggers, the market analysts, and some people that observe. You know, what you're doing as an open source company. And when it comes to the core, there's really two models. There's purely community-led models, like, you know, Linux and Apache, so to speak. There's very tight governance in the two models. Right? Not everybody can be or claim he's a committer, right, to an Apache project. There's a very strong, big governance around that. But the fundamental nature of Apache project is community-led. There's no, let's say, commercial arm, right? You know, behind it. There's no, let's say, corporate entity, sort of, right? You know, behind it. And you have others, you know, that are more company-led. You know, it could be ERPs, you know, it could be, you know, CRM systems. SQL was, Alfresco was like that. Company-led, actually, it's a bunch of people that know specifically well a software area. Usually they come from the traditional software market and decide to leverage open source as a model, right, to create an alternative, right, to proprietary traditional models. That's what Alfresco did, and it was the idea of this guy, John Newton. John Newton was one of the founding engineers at Ingress as a database some time ago, for the ones that remember that technology. He was then a co-founder of Documentum, who has been a leader in the ECM space for a long time. And in 2005, with another guy, John Powell, who was coming from Business Object, they decided that there was a great opportunity going, you know, open source on the enterprise content management space. And John Newton had that vision because he knew content management, because he's been living in that space for the last 20 years. And he assembled a team of core engineering that are world-class. Right? The team at Alfresco is made of X, Documentum X, X, etc. I mean, these guys have been developing ECM software through, you know, the 90s, early 2000s, using what they had at their disposal at the time. But then in 2005, they realized that, you know, with now new technology, they could build a much better, and open source technology, they could build a much better, right, solution, and go much faster to market. And that's, you know, how they have really, you know, managed to create, you know, the first version of Alfresco as an open source. It has met a lot of success right away because it was extremely well received by especially the ECM experts that know the other proprietary products. They could look into the software, they could look into how it got architected and developed it all in a second. The projection was to have 10,000 downloads in the first 12 months, in 2005. And those 10,000 downloads, it was achieved in 1 week. Right? So we have now, I think, 4 million downloads, of the product, and 70,000 installations in the world, and about 3,000 enterprise customers. So it's been really, a great, great journey story. We have much more to do, but again, I think that is interesting to share with you. So we are operating, a dual model, which is kind of a classic in the open source, at least, commercial, sort of a business. We have two versions, community and enterprise. We release community under GPL, right? And enterprise is kind of an open source commercial license, really. Enterprise actually is tied to a subscription. It's we didn't reinvent the wheel. We thought that Red Hat and MySQL actually had very good models, to build a business as an open source company. Because we have to build a business, we have to make money. Without money, we can't keep, developing the product itself, right? So, and again, that model seems to be, well accepted and working well. So now, maybe due to the nature of the product, community, we got some really good, core contributions at the beginning. Now, because maybe the platform is quite very rich, it's quite, it's got a lot of features, and a repository also is not exactly a trivial piece of software. Let's face it, right? So the contributions at the core level are really done by the Alfresco engineering team, and we have more of people like contributing to the add-ons, right? Helping us on the roadmap, giving feedback, etc., testing the product, which is again one of the great value of open source. Is that if you validate quickly what you're doing is right or wrong, because community lets you know, right? Well, not addressed it, So that's really again a big feature of the model. And because again we have, I have realized, for example, that some people abuse a bit the term open source, and actually they create issues. Let's face it, because they pretend they do everything and they know the software very well. But you know what? They screw up projects. That's not good for open source. Right? They declare that they are, I'm a contributor to Alfresco. I'm sorry, you're not, because we control everything. Yes, you may not like that, but it is a fact. Why we control everything? Because again, this is not Mickey Mouse trivial software we're talking about. Whether it is community-led or privately led, there's a very tight governance on any true, real, worldwide open source projects. Right? Because not everybody can commit. Not everybody knows exactly how to fix this problem, the implications it has on all the other aspects of the software. And we have to draw that conclusion ourselves as well, that we are controlling both versions, community and enterprise. We have, by the way, the IP on it, right? But we are delivering this to a lot, of community users, and they seem to be happy with it. That's all for my presentation. Is there any time for questions, or we done?
Очень жаль прерывать докладчика, чрезвычайно интересно. Если у кого-нибудь есть вопросы, пожалуйста, задайте.
There's a question over there.
I have one provocative question, please, about how much you are open.
No, he has to use the microphone.
Collaborative.
Can you take the microphone?
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. It's my mistake.
Спасибо. У меня провокационный вопрос. Насколько вы открыты и коллаборативны? Ваши отношения и взаимоотношения с вашими коллегами и конкурентами из таких проектов, как Open Bravo, Чахия, Excel и так далее?
Okay, so well, we are as open as open source can be, we have released and we keep releasing Alfresco community under LGPL that represents millions of code lines of world-class quality. And I'm not too sure we can be more open source than that, frankly speaking, right? Because again, that Alfresco community version has been deployed, 4 million downloads, in the world, 70,000 installations in the world, developed by a team of, one of the 2 or 3 top team in ECM and Java development in the world, because that's what they've been doing all their life in leading company positions before. So I think this, to your question, how are we open? That's my response. Now, as far as the enterprise version is concerned, enterprise version, as you know, in this case with Red Hat, we are providing some sort of obviously subscription-based model where we monetize it through support services, but also we have to do certain certification, right, and further testing against actually non-open source stack as part of the enterprise version, and that's why we are making it available only to our customers, because we have to bear investments there. But that's for my your question regarding how we are open. With colleagues, we are there are competitors in some of the companies you mentioned. I think so we are competing, right? It's a natural position as any sort of vendor or even company. Whatever we do, there's competition. That's fair, right? We have absolutely no problem with that. The good news with open source is that again it's open and people can check it out right by themselves. And as regards other guys, Open Bravo, ERPs, etc., or Sugar CRM, or yes, we are, let's say, kind of in coexistence. I can't say that our cooperation is really through more customers asking us to integrate, the 2 products for example, and we are more than happy to do that. Thank you.
Еще вопрос?
Any other questions?
А на русском лучше задавать вопросы? Давайте на русском, чтобы все
Вас
было.
переведут.
А не считаете ли вы, что в данной модели само слово open source больше используется как PR-код? Потому что так как существует комьюнити-версия, выпущенная, которой могут пользоваться все, и она существует для продвижения, в общем-то, enterprise-версии. Но я так понимаю, компания в этом заинтересована по очевидным причинам. И, соответственно, никто не может взять эту комьюнити-версию и создать на основе нее проект, не зависящий и неконтролируемый компанией. Соответственно, если такое произойдет, компания будет вынуждена с этим бороться, потому что это уже не способствует продвижению enterprise-версии.
Thank you. That's a good question. No, I think again we are as open as any open source company can be. There's again millions of codes, high quality, world-class software available in an LGPL. Now let's not confuse the discussion here. There is no such thing as open source free support. That doesn't exist. Okay? That does not exist in a context where this is a business system that people are going to use and make critical for their business. So you need to apply a service level agreement at some point in time. And customers are requiring this, right? So the question is, how they do that? They have 3 choices. They can do that through actually their own staff. So they're hiding costs on the payroll, but they're bearing a lot of costs for that, because their own people are going to be the ones supporting, right? Delivering the SLA and guaranteeing this works. They can contract to a third party, an SI, and that's my point. A lot of SIs, I respect a lot, I have a lot of respect for the SIs, but some SIs, I'm sorry, I have to share that with you guys. Some also are not, let's say, annoyed to lie to customers because they make overpromise about what they can do on that software, because they don't know very well that software, but because it is open source, they pretend they know it very well, right? But that is a choice of the customer. And then they can come to us or to one of our official partners. So choice is out there. Our value proposition to the market is, we do believe that if you're serious about using Alfresco, you have anyway to bear some costs supporting that platform, because that is a natural of any sort of business, sort of software, okay? And that what we are offering you, we feel that we are offering you the best compromise between cost, value, and risk. but it's your choice. It is your choice. And we are, you know, absolutely, we have customers that are using Alfresco community big one. They have the skills. We had sometimes had discussions, you know, as I just exposed, and they decided, okay, I'll take, you know, my kind of risk, you know, whatever, I have the skills. I can keep on community, no problem. We respect that. We always say we're very happy using Alfresco.
I'm sorry, do they contribute?
No, and that is also a very there is a high cost to contribution because customers usually, you know what, they do contribution or they change the software in their own context. They have no clue as to what it is to productize the contribution. You know, I mean, so they're ignorant. Let's face it, it's not their business to develop software, but they think they can because it's open source. But let's face it, it's not productized contributions. And you know what? Nobody wants to bear that cost. Nobody. So we have to bear it. And we have to have a business model behind that. Because, you know, otherwise, you know, it will not flow at the end of the day. But the choice is out there.
Спасибо большое. Thank you.
Thank you.
Большое спасибо. Очень интересно.
Спасибо.